Welcome to the Simplicity of Wellness podcast. I'm Amy White, holistic nutritionist, life coach, and weight loss specialist. If you're tired of overcomplicating food, battling your body, and starting over every Monday, you're in the right place. Here we talk about what actually works, simple shifts in food, mindset, and habits that lead to lasting change. Let's dive in. I want to describe someone to you. She's not in crisis, she's not restricting herself at meals or avoiding the doctor because she's afraid to step on the scale. Her blood work's pretty good, her doctor's happy, she's fine. She goes to work, she takes care of her family, she shows up. By every measurable standard, her life is working. She has nothing to complain about. But there's this quiet thing underneath all of it, this low hum she doesn't talk about, the version of herself she used to know. The one with more energy, more passion, more presence has just quietly faded. She's not sure when it happened. She just knows that at some point she let go of that person and started accepting who she'd become. She's fine, and fine is the hardest place to leave. Welcome to the Simplicity of Wellness podcast. I'm Amy White, your board-certified holistic nutritionist and life coach. This is part 2 of a conversation I started in the last episode about how change actually happens. If you haven't heard that one yet, go back and listen because this episode builds on those ideas. Today we're talking about the woman who isn't running away from anything, who has nothing urgent pushing her, and who has, without quite deciding to, settled for less than what she actually wants. In the last episode, I talked about 2 kinds of motivation. Moving away, powered by discomfort. This is you running from the version of yourself you don't want to be. It feels like fuel, but it burns out fast. The minute the discomfort dulls even a little, the motivation to change disappears. Moving toward, powered by a clear vision. This is you being pulled toward a version of yourself and your life that you actually want. That's the fuel that lasts. But here's what I didn't talk about, and I think it's actually where a lot of women live. The third place. Not running away, not moving toward, just parked. Parked looks different from stuck. Stuck implies effort that isn't working. Parked is quieter than that. It's the absence of effort because there's no urgency demanding it. The woman who's parked has no burning reason to change. Her doctor isn't alarmed, she's not in pain, she's not having a rock bottom moment. She just has this low, persistent sense that she's settled for something she didn't actually agree to settle for. And here's the thing about being parked. It doesn't feel like a problem. It feels like stability, which is exactly why it's so hard to leave. Fine is comfortable. That's the thing nobody says out loud. Fine doesn't demand anything from you. Fine lets you off the hook. Fine gives you 100 reasonable explanations for why you're not pushing for more. The doctor's happy. The blood work's okay. Things could be worse. Plenty of women my age feel this way. And every one of those things can be true. But fine is still a trap. Because here's what discomfort and fine have in common. Discomfort gets you started. We've all felt that. The Monday morning urgency, the moment your jeans don't fit, the photo that stops you cold. It moves you, but only until it doesn't. The minute the edge softens, the motivation ends. And as for fine never gets you to the starting line. Different roads, same destination. Life becomes the quiet hum of wanting something you've stopped believing you're allowed to want. And here's something to be aware of. There's a difference between a woman who genuinely accepts and loves herself and a woman who's quietly lowering the bar on what she expects from her life and from herself. That slow dimming isn't something most of us can name, but we feel it. We feel it when we pass on the trip because we don't think our body's ready for beach clothes. We feel it when we hide in the back of a photo instead of taking up space in the front. We feel it when we sit down at the end of the day with this low hum of disappointment we can't quite name. That's not acceptance. That's accommodation. And accommodation is what happens when there's no clear vision pulling us somewhere better. Let me paint a picture, and I want you to notice if any of this feels familiar. You have clothes in your closet you haven't worn in 2 years, not because you don't like them, but because you're waiting until you feel better about yourself to wear them. And that waiting has become so normal, you've stopped noticing it's happening. You stopped being in photos. Not consciously, you just find yourself on the other side of the camera, and you tell yourself it doesn't matter, but it does, a little, every time. You've adjusted your expectations for your energy. You've stopped expecting to feel good in the afternoon. The 3 p.m. slump is just what happens now. You work around it. You've built your whole day around it. You've quietly stopped seeing yourself doing certain things. The trip where you'd walk all day and be thrilled about your 20,000 steps. Being the mom who's actually present and energetic with her kids. Sitting at dinner eating and laughing without doing calorie math. That was the life you envisioned. You've just stopped believing it's still available to you. That's what settling looks like from the inside. It's not dramatic. It's not a crisis. Just a slow, quiet narrowing of what you expect from yourself and your own life. And here's what I want you to hear clearly. This is not a character flaw. This is what happens when there's no clear vision pulling you forward and no pain pushing you from behind. You're not unmotivated, you're undirected. Those are completely different problems, and they have completely different solutions. In the last episode, I asked, how do you want to feel on a regular Tuesday 6 months from now? For the woman who's parked, that question hits differently because she doesn't have a crisis to escape. She doesn't have a clear before and after narrative. She just has this low-level sense that she could feel more than she does and be more than she is. That there's a person she's quietly given up on. Not outgrown, given up on. There's a difference. And that right there is the vision gap. She doesn't need more rules. She needs something worth moving toward. So let me try something. Instead of asking you what do you want to weigh or what size do you want to be, let me ask you something more specific. What would you actually do differently if you felt good in your body? Not hypothetically, but actually felt good in your body, loved who you saw in the mirror. Would you be the one excited to be in the photo instead of hiding in the back? Would you be the one planning the beach vacation? Would you get through the afternoon focused and productive without needing a sugar pick-me-up to get there? Would you sit at dinner with your family and enjoy the food without feeling like you had to manage what you ate? Those aren't fantasies. Those are data points. Those are your vision. And a vision that specific, a vision made of real moments in your real life, is what creates direction when desire replaces urgency. Because you're not picturing someone you're trying to become. You're picturing someone you remember. The person who's been quietly waiting. That's what motivates you when fine isn't enough anymore. Not shame, not urgency, not a list of what you've been doing wrong. A clear, specific picture of what you're reclaiming. The version of you always knew you'd become. And the understanding that staying parked isn't neutral. Every day you stay parked, that person you remember slips a little further away. Here's what I want to leave you with today. You're allowed to want more than fine. That sounds simple, but for a lot of women it isn't, because wanting more feels like ingratitude. It feels like vanity. It feels like not accepting yourself. And so the wanting gets quieter and quieter until it's just this low hum you've learned to live with. But wanting to feel good in your body is not vanity. It's not shallow. It's not asking too much. It's wanting to show up fully in your life, to be present in the moments that matter instead of managing yourself through them. To move through your days with the energy and ease that let you actually be who you want to be. That's worth building toward. And what I hope you take from this episode is not a new plan or a new protocol. It's just this, an honest look at whether fine is actually where you want to stay. And if it isn't, I hope this episode helps you begin to create a picture of where you actually want to go. Because that picture, specific and felt and real, is what moves you when nothing else will. If you're ready to build the life you picture and you want someone in your corner while you do it, book a free 60-minute coaching session with me. The link is in the show notes. It's called Transformation Starts Here, because that's what this conversation is. Thanks for being here, and I'll be back in the next episode.